what the Lord has been telling me the past couple of days when it comes to the idolatry of relationships and marriage. Last night, the Lord gave me a phrase. It wasn't even last night. I'm a snoozer, so when my alarm go off, it's gonna be a snooze fest for a little while. And so I would say within about 10 minutes, I had fell back to sleep, and the Lord gave me a phrase. It was spoken by my sister, which was weird, but she said to me, idolatry. I don't know the exact words, but I remember a few of the words, and it was just one sentence. It was something to the effect of, dream interpretations cancel out idolatry. So very hard for me to understand what that was supposed to mean, right? Therefore, I had to sit with the Lord and talk to him and figure out whether I was supposed to get anything from that and what I was supposed to get from it, and then what was I supposed to do with the information. So he put a scenario in mind for me. The Lord does not want you to have idols, y'all. The Lord does not want you to have idols. If you are on your walk and you are trying to stay in alignment with him and you have an idol, the Lord is going to have to rebuke you for the idol. It doesn't matter what the idol is. The idol could be something that he told you that you were supposed to have. You know, the Lord tells us things. He shows us and tells us things that he has for us in our future. He keeps us in the know. And some of those things are really good things. And when we catch wind of this is what the Lord has for me, it is important for us to keep ourselves in check and not become obsessed with what he has for us. For us to not be fixated about when is it going to happen? How is it going to happen? What can I do to make this happen quicker? That type of thing. The Lord wants you to have good things, but he is not going to give you something that you've made an idol. He is going to have to allow for you to work out what you need to work out with him till you put him in his proper place. So I want to bring this to marriage. Lots of people want marriage. Lots of people, desire to be with someone that the Lord wants for them. And in turn, lots of people do end up making marriage an idol. Okay? Whether they know it's what the Lord has for them or not, they believe that the Lord will bless them with a marriage from him. And that can sometimes cause people to have a preoccupation about marriage, especially when they have an idea or they have been told or shown who they are supposed to marry. The Lord will not give you that person if you are idolizing them. He will not give you the thing that you are putting in his place of importance. When it comes to marriage, the marriage is supposed to be a covenant between not just the two people marrying, but with the Lord in it. He is supposed to be involved in the marriage. And in saying that, the Lord will make sure that you have him there. He's not going to give you that marriage without him already being in his proper place. So when you get to a situation where the Lord is not in his proper place, he's waiting on you. When it comes to being in alignment about certain things regarding that, he is usually waiting on you. While you may be in whatever position believing, upset with the Lord, or believing that he is, withholding something good from you, believing that maybe it's your person that's not ready for marriage, like all of that stuff. While he's wanting to clean you up, but you're not surrendering to his process. He's wanting to make sure that he gives you a marriage where he is properly placed. And if you decide to jump up off the boat before he has given that to you, then who knows what kind of mess you could get yourself into. So let's say the situation is you believe you heard that the Lord wants to give you a marriage, and he told you that, or it's a promise that he's giving you, and instead of surrendering to his process where he's going to align everything that needs to happen, you decide that it's time, and then you decide to take someone's advice or do things, put your hand in the Lord's pot. You can't be surrendered and submitted to him and then not at the same time. That is just you not being surrendered and submitted to him. So there's this guy, and I don't want to give too many details because you'll definitely know who it is, but I will say this. I had been in a season of observing him. This man was getting himself ready for marriage. It was no secret that he wanted to be married. And he felt like he had been ready for marriage, and he was waiting on the Lord. Well, waiting on the Lord turned to him doing things, him dating people. He felt like he found somebody that he heard that the Lord said that this was his wife, but then when things weren't looking the way that he wanted them to look, he went another direction. Well, ultimately someone referred for him to get with somebody else. They're married now. The thing about this though is that before he got married to his current wife, I had known about his story. I had been able to observe him. And if you know anything about the Lord, when the Lord starts to talk to you about people, give you divine knowledge, if that's one of the gifts that he has for you, where you start to learn things that you never asked to learn. He'll start giving you insight about things that ain't got nothing to do with you. And that was this situation for me. So the Lord has started showing me things about this man, and I became invested. So at the point in which he married the woman, this was not the Lord's woman. The Lord did not choose his woman. He chose the woman. He was surrendered and submitted and wanting the Lord to do what he does for as long as he was willing to wait. And when he got tired of waiting, he gave a deadline. And when the deadline was approaching, he put his hand in it, or allowed other people to put their hands in it. And he got off the horse. He jumped out of the boat. And the person was willing to be his wife. So they're married now. By the time I had learned that they were married, I had disconnected from this man. I didn't want to see anything, regarding him anywhere on social media, nothing. So there was no way, y'all, that this thing should have popped up on my feed, but it did. And I knew that the Lord put it there. And I was grieved in my spirit. At the point that I learned that he had even taken a fiance, and I knew it wasn't the person that the Lord had for him, I cried. This was not my man. I believe in that moment I felt the heart of the Father about the matter. And that's going to make sense to y'all in a minute, of why the Lord would be evoking all these emotions on someone else's behalf through me. I believe I felt the heart of the Father in that moment, of how he truly feels when people jump out of alignment to satisfy their own idols and to satisfy what they will, instead of allowing the Lord to do whatever it is that is meant for him to do, the work that he is meant to do in these people, so that they can actually be prepared for marriage. His marriage. That's where we get things mixed up. The Lord ordained the use of marriage for a purpose in the earth. He created this thing. Any marriage that you petition the Lord about, it is his when he gives it to you, to do whatever it is that he is meant to do with it. If the only thing he wants you to do in that marriage is bring up babies in Christ, then that is what he has purpose for you to do with it. But there are some people who are called to certain ministries, and marriage is one of them. And when the Lord calls you to work in a certain ministry, he don't just have you marry somebody for them to ride along for the ride. Y'all are both called to that ministry, right? Y'all are both called to do that work. So this young man that I'm talking about, this is what the Lord revealed to me about this situation. This man was called for marriage ministry. That means the Lord actually called this man to do a thing, to bring other people to marriage, to expose things about marriage, to help people have godly marriages. However, instead of marrying the person that was also called for this ministry to do it with him, this is what that Jeremiah is. This is what I knew you before you were in your mother's womb is. Like, this is what I was talking about with callings in the last video, as opposed to assignments. Some people are called to do a certain thing that is big, and it's a big thing to be done within the body of Christ. You can't just choose who you do that thing with. When you are called to do a certain thing, the Lord has already designated who you are supposed to be doing that thing with, as it pertains to marriage. If the Lord called you into a marriage ministry, and then you choose your own spouse, you are now out of alignment. Both people are supposed to be called to that ministry, not you and whoever you choose to ride along with you. The reason some of my more recent words have things to do with marriage, I spoke about divorce briefly. The reason why I've been through so much in love and relationships is because I have a certain calling on myself as well. So the reason that he gave me this knowledge and had me observe this situation and had me feel his heart about it was because I needed that experience, so that I can put emotion to and words to explain how God actually feels when people jump out of alignment and go do their own thing because they have an idol. So right now, someone who has a marriage ministry is married to someone that he is not supposed to be married to. The Lord does not bombard us and make us do a thing his way. He allows us to do what we're going to do. And at whatever time he deems appropriate, if we've chosen the wrong thing that is not in according to his perfect will, he breaks it up. In breaking it up, he redeems. Romans 8:28 said. Now, you have more experience. Now, I'm not gonna take your ministry away from you. I am going to now assign people to you that would probably do the exact same thing that you did, but now your failure in it has now brought up a speaking point for you to be able to minister to other people and explain to them what not to do when they're trying to walk in the Lord's will. So I believe that whenever the Lord is ready, that man, and I'm not speaking this on anybody, but I'm just speaking about what the Lord has had me understand about this situation and other situations, especially situations I've been through. When you get married to somebody and your calling was to minister a marriage and you don't marry who the Lord wants you to do that with, he will end it. In that, he will turn the bad things good and allow it to be used for his glory. You will have to learn whatever it is that you were meant to learn. The thing is, you didn't have to learn that lesson. You didn't have to go through that. But since you got out of alignment and went your own way, now the Lord's going to use that lesson. And now you have something else to bring to people who may potentially do the same thing or may have already done the same thing, to where he can use you to help realign them as well. So the idolatry of marriage can put you in situations that the Lord didn't even want you in. This is something different for somebody who is not actually called to be in marriage ministry, but the point is the same. If you are asking the Lord to give you your spouse, you don't jump out of alignment with him because you've made marriage an idol. You don't become offended with the Lord because your timeline is messed up. That means he's still working on something inside of you that needs to be out of you. You don't put the need to want to be married above the need to want to do whatever the Lord is wanting for you to do. The Lord will not give you your idol. He will continue to work on you until it's not an idol anymore, and then he will give it to you so you won't mess it up, so that he can have his proper placement in the way that that thing is. So, back to what my sister said about this dream. Sometimes, if someone has made an idol out of a person or a marriage, the Lord has different ways that he will undo with the idol. So let's take I'm gonna do this in a hypothetical way. Let's say the Lord told me who my spouse was, and I've surrendered to him. I've surrendered my timeline to him. I surrendered my process to him. I know that he's going to bring this thing together when he's willing to bring it together. 5 months, that's cool. 10 months, that's cool. By year number 2, I'm antsy. Shoot, by year number 1, I'm antsy. And some of us get antsy after 3-4 months. Okay, Lord, I'm trying to do this your way, but I want this now. You told me I could have this. You told me this was my person, John the Baptist. You told me who you are. Now I'm doubting. I'm allowing the enemy to mess with me now, because I'm getting out of alignment now. My emotions are making me do things. The idolization of this promise is making me think things. I must have been wrong. This must not be what the Lord wants for me. You know, sometimes the Lord will give you over to your idol. He had me thinking about King Ahab. King Ahab was in rebellion to the Lord's word. He wanted yes men. He wanted things to be the way that he wanted them to be. And when, you know, the Lord sent prophets to tell him what was true, he rejected it. He rejected what the Lord was saying because it didn't match what he wanted. So the rebellion of it all. So the Lord allowed him to believe a lie. Because when the Lord uncovers you, you uncovered. You're able to, you know, you succumb to whatever spirits around there trying to get to you. And in that, he was brought to death. Sometimes the Lord will hand you over to the things that you want so bad. Oh, you want marriage so bad? You want marriage so bad that you're willing to step out of alignment with me? Well, go ahead. You know what? Let me help you. Let me uncover you, since you're rebelling against my word that you heard. And let me confirm what you want, and allow you access to confirm something that's against my word. Go ahead and do what you want to do. Again, back to what my sister said in my little dream. The phrase had to do with interpretations of dreams, knocking off idols. So what I got from this is, again, a hypothetical situation. You want to be married so bad, you starting to doubt now what I told you. I'm going to hand you over to this, and now you got a dream confirming the opposite of what I told you. Maybe you got a dream saying that the person that I told you was your person is not your person. Maybe you got a dream saying just something negative about the person that I told you. And because you are now inclined to believe what you want to believe so that you can have your marriage, you're believing the wrong word. Your interpretation of the dream, maybe because you didn't even come to me about it in the first place, is now Mr. or Mrs. Right, what I have shown you already. according to what you see now or what you've heard now. Maybe it wasn't a dream. Maybe it was something somebody else told you. It's in alignment with your emotions. Oh, I don't think that's my person. I must have heard wrong. Now I'm getting something that's confirming that I heard wrong. My dream told me that that was the wrong person. So now I'm aligned with the wrong thing, but the Lord is allowing me to be aligned with the wrong thing. He's giving me what I wanted. I couldn't stay in alignment with him. I couldn't trust him. I couldn't wait for him. I couldn't hang on to the word that he gave me. Faith comes by hearing and hearing by the word of God. The Lord gave me a word, but since I didn't have the perseverance to stay in faith about it for as long as I needed to while the Lord was preparing me for it, I started to tell myself that I didn't hear the word, that somebody else is my husband or wife, that somebody else, like, that person is bad, that person is a witch, that person, like, the Lord gives me a dream that confirms what my flesh is telling me, not what he told me already. But since it's now coinciding with my flesh, I'm gonna run with it. And the Lord is allowing me to do that. And all of a sudden, I've decided that this person that he told me was for me is not for me, and I'm gonna go marry this other person, or I'm gonna go be with this other person. This other person must be for me. Or my dream told me that this other person was for me, or somebody told me, a prophetic message told me, my cousin told me, everybody is giving me advice and they're all telling me to go this way, but the Lord told me to go another way. But since what they're telling me makes more sense to me, since what they're telling me is giving to my flesh, I'm going to go with what they're saying instead of what the Lord said. The Lord may have allowed that, for one, because you have made marriage an idol, and now you're not married, or now you're in alignment with the wrong person. Or for two, you made the person that he told you in the first place an idol, and he needed to destroy the idol. All things work together for the good of the Lord and those who are called to his purpose. All things work together for the Lord's perfect will to be done. Actually, I don't know how well you are hanging on to what I'm saying. It might be confusing because it sounds like I'm explaining it in a complicated way, but I'm trying to simplify what I'm saying. If the Lord told me I was supposed to marry a certain person, and I have made that an idol of mine, and I can't wait for it to happen, and I can't do what the Lord needs for me to do in order for it to happen, he might allow for me to believe that it's not true, so that I can not have that person as an idol anymore, so that the Lord can regain his spot over that person, even though that person is the one that the Lord wants for me. He had to make the circumstances change so that I reorder him, that I let it go. I went and let it go on my own. This person was in the wrong spot of my heart where the Lord was supposed to be. So he allowed the circumstances to remove that person from my heart so that he could be there. And in his time, he's going to allow the circumstances to change back to where they need to be so that I am still in alignment with what the person is in his will for me, but not as an idol. The Lord's ways are not our ways. But that is the wisdom and revelation that he brought to me. And on the topic of marriage, I don't know how people used to do it in the year 1, the year 100 BC. I don't know. We weren't there, and it isn't shared to us everything about marriage and what things used to take place. But when the Lord established marriage, it was meant to be a covenant in between 3 people, him and the 2 who are joining together to become one. You're already supposed to be one with God. And then in that, y'all are becoming one together. Okay, so in this day and age, people marry for a multitude of reasons that don't have nothing to do with God. And we know that because a lot of people marry that don't even believe in God. They believe in marriage. They believe in a contract. They do not believe in the covenant that is created to honor the Lord and to do a work in the earth for the Lord. They don't believe marriage is supposed to be doing anything having to do with the Lord. They don't understand the servitude of marriage. They don't understand the worship that comes with marriage. A lot of Christians don't even understand that. So, I'm about to get on something that's going to chop some people in the throat, but it needs to be said. This is just what the Lord has shown me when I petition him for understanding about certain things, or he has me observing certain things and getting insight and revelation from those things. Words are not wasted in the Bible. When a word says relating to marriage as being joined by God, we know so many marriages are not joined by God. They're joined by flesh. They're joined by lust. They're joined by jealousy, meaning I don't want nobody else to have them. have this person, so I'm gonna have them. They're joined by fear, meaning I don't want this person to leave me, or I'm scared of being alone, so let's just get married. Some people make pacts to marry each other if they're not married by the age of whatever. Some people go into marriage as business, in a contractual sense. It's a business move. It's a way to elevate me. We go into marriage for status. People won't take me seriously unless I'm a married person, so I'm on the hunt for marriage. We go into marriage because we're insecure. People won't look at me as somebody worth anything. We have low self-esteem, so I need a husband, I need a wife. We go into marriage because our parents pressure us to get married by a certain age, so we settle for things that are not in God's will for us, and some of us, it's not even in God's will for us to be married. But for those of us who it is, we settle for things that's not in the Lord's will for us, and then we like to say that the Lord joined it. So let me just ask you this and just let you ponder. I don't want to come to a conclusion for you, though I have my own conclusion. Everybody's like, God hates divorce. We can't get divorced because we got married. You don't even understand covenant, but yet you're saying that. Like, a lot of people talk about things and have stances to where they don't understand why they even have the stance that they have, because someone else told them that it was wrong, or someone else told me that this was right, so it's right. What do you think God hates more? That people are getting married and making a mockery out of marriage for their own self-indulgence, their own pleasures, their own wants and needs, their own wills, their own agendas. Some people get married for nothing. Oh, we're together, we've been together for so long, let's get married. Hey, guess what? I was one of them. How you get married for love when you don't even understand love? Because the Lord defines love in the Bible, and none of us love that way. Many of us don't even love that way. So how are you getting married for love? You're getting married off of an emotion. If you can fall in love with somebody and that's the reason why you're marrying them, you can fall out of love with them and then want to not be in it anymore. I've lived that. We say we got married because we're in love with each other when we don't even understand what love is supposed to look like according to God. We use the Lord's foundation of marriage in the name of stuff that we don't even live by and understand. Which one do you think God hates more? That we get married to people off of whims instead of for him to be in it and a part of it and establish it truly, something that he created to honor him, that he's supposed to be in and involved in? Or do you think he hates divorce? People paint this picture, and I think they're just not really ill-informed, or they just don't have the full picture in their information. The picture of you've done something that you shouldn't have done, but the Lord is going to make you stay in it. Why would a loving Lord do that? He says you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. I'm laughing, but if you made a covenant outside of God, he is the one who has all power, and he could undo that covenant if it was meant to happen that way. Which is why you should be consulting the Lord in everything. I'm going to stand by this, and I'm going to say it. The Lord wants some people to divorce, especially if you've done what I've explained and you rebelled against him in marriage. Not just, I didn't seek him, but I had an idol. He actually has a calling for my marriage, and it's in his will that I marry somebody specific, and I didn't do that. You think God will make you stay in it against his own will? That doesn't even make sense. But there are some people that will stand on that. They will stand on this God hates divorce horse and just on that mountain and just die there. I'm not saying that God doesn't hate divorce. In his word it says that he does. He will prefer married people not to divorce. He also goes on to speak about some cases where divorce would be allowed. And there's a whole thing on that, and I will put something in the comments that Philip Anthony Mitchell, a sermon that he did on this. But do you think the Lord hates divorce more than he hates you messing over the sanctity of marriage? I know you don't think that. I will close my message by saying this last part. A lot of us are supposed to be married, but we are not allowing the Lord to do what he needs to do in order to prepare us for him. And we may not truly be in alignment and submission under him. So, dig deep, go into prayer, genuinely ask the Lord, do you desire for me to be married? And surrender everything to him. It's your time, it's your way, it's your process. Lord, I'm laying this at your feet. Lead me in the way that I should go. And be fine with it. That's all I got.